Theresa Kinney is Senior Deputy Program Director for NASA SEWP. Welcome. It's great to talk to you as we're here talking about security and so on. What are the main themes of what agencies are coming to you and asking you for in the acquisition process?
I will tell you, they are looking at how they can streamline acquisition as much as possible. Really, the focus here is with cybersecurity, supply chain risk, with all of these venues that are just constantly evolving, federal government changing on their policies, on how they look at these things, and then private industry itself between the parent company and the child company, and these industries are changing and evolving daily, right? So how does the federal government get their hands around all of that to the correct information so they can make the best decision they can for their organization, for their purchases? So what we've come up with is what we call a storefront, and they can set up this storefront with all of the products that they're looking to purchase, and then we go out to make sure that their CMMC, their FedRAMP, their 889, all of those policies, ISO 20243, which is an open group policy for malicious and tainted products that are out there, right? We have over half of our contract holders right now have this ISO agreement or this certification. And we can check all of those boxes for them. So they're checking less boxes and they can trust the products that they're getting through the vehicle. So once they set up that storefront, they can even put like clauses that just comply to their agency into that storefront. And it just makes it so easy, streamless, frictionless, and they can get their products quicker.
Are there questions that they're asking you, are there common threads to them, and are there questions that maybe agencies should be asking you about their acquisitions and they're not? I think they feel pretty open to ask us any question that they want, and they pretty much do. I mean, we get probably over 60,000 tickets that just like help tickets a year. I mean, it's a lot of them come in. But I will tell you, one of the things that they're really struggling with is clauses that private industry keep putting into these, especially the softwares. And as we know, government really can't agree to those clauses, right? But then they'll say, well, if you're not going to agree to them, we're not going to be compliant to it, or we're not going to even offer it to you. But they can get our office involved in that as well. And we have a staff of folks that work just on the industry side and then are the government side. And we get everyone in the room together and let's have a conversation. Let's talk, right? How can we make this a win-win for both sides? And I think that's important. I think it's important that industry start talking to government like we're a team together instead of, oh, that's government, we're private industry. I think those days are gone. I think it's really important that we start talking to one another and telling each other what's going on out there. You're not the first person to say that you think those days are gone, but what maintains that momentum in your view? How do you keep that going? How do you keep that dialogue open as new players come into the market? All aspects of the federal government are talking about how do we get new people involved in the industrial base and so on, not just DOD and the DIB, but on the civilian side too. And those folks will kind of need to get up to speed on how things work in the government and become part of that dialogue, I imagine.
I will tell you, when I've been with SEWP since SEWP 3, so I've been on a couple iterations that have come in. And for the most part, I will tell you, the newbies, it takes probably 1.5 years, 2 years for them to really understand how to use the vehicle, understand how government works, understand the whole gamut. I mean, it's a totally different environment. And so a lot of people, when they look at the contract, they go, oh my gosh, I need this contract, sort of like, the baseball. If I build the field, the baseball players will come, right? And that's just not a true statement. Salespeople need to understand how government works. They need to understand the policies, the FAR regulations that these people have to follow, right? So we try to educate, we try to bring them up as quick as possible. We do a lot of hand-holding in the beginning, especially for the industry side, trying to, help them navigate and figure out, how they can get their foot into this store and start really making a profit and money. And I mean, at the end result, that's what everyone's here for, right? Private industry, at least. And the government gets what they need, right? And how to keep good reputations and all of it. I mean, we're here to help them.
So. What do you think you could do to help streamline that process for the agencies more? You talked about how important that is to them. And as the person serving, or the organization serving that customer, what do you think your organization's role is in doing that?
We've already started kind of down that road. We work a lot with, I can't name them, higher agencies that really can look into what's going on, internationally, right, with these companies and stuff. And how do we start sharing information without sharing, decisions that are being made? Because each decision is going to be made based on what your needs are.
Yes.
Okay, so we've already started down that road. We meet with them on a quarterly basis. We talk about different ideas that are happening and stuff. The attestation letter, I think the concept there was good, but we kind of knew it wasn't going to really work. I know that they're trying to figure out how to make it work. But if you talk about a software, you've got a software library over here. Who knows where all of those programs came from? Nobody does. So it's really kind of hard to track where the parent company is and where the child company is and where it's coming from. So, then you look at who's putting in the back doors to the software, right? So how do you go, okay, so where can I find a program that'll help me search for the back doors? Not necessarily, is there a back door, right?
Yeah. Theresa, it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being here.